Hello, hello, hello once again, and welcome back to Memoirs of the Father. I am your host, the Father, Alex Burnham. I hope that you guys are having a great and fantastic day. I hope that you've been enjoying my content, and if you're a new listener, I just want to put this out there. I'm trying to do this to kind of continue to reach out to people, to talk about my experiences, a lot of stuff that I went through, and try to make it a smoother transition for the people that need help or people that are trying to learn something. So that's the goal with all this, and I hope that that's what we're accomplishing so far. And I've gotten a lot of great feedback so far, a little bit, but what I've gotten back has been good. So I at least know that I'm helping some people. I do want to address the videos that I've been posting of cheerleading routines and talking about them. I've been getting a lot of requests to do videos, some from people that are on the teams, some from other places that aren't on the teams. I guess it's a lot of people want to hear their opinion, but I want to state this. I don't really want this to be like a regular thing because I don't want to make it a habit of being critical of children, and these are kids. And I understand that we all love great cheerleading, but I understand that sometimes we can get a little bit too obsessive and tie a lot of things to that and tie a lot of things to athletes and programs that I don't think is necessarily fair. I picked Strawberry Crest because I loved their routine. I thought that they had a lot of great things in place to go out there and become a national champion. And I think that if you were building a program and you have dreams of one day competing at a national level or trying to win championships, to model yourself after someone like that is probably not a bad idea. I said the things that I like and what I don't like. My opinion does not change what good cheerleading is. You don't have to like or enjoy any aspect of a routine for it to hit the score sheet and to be fundamentally sound. But like I said, I don't want to put teams out there and just start being critical of them if I don't have to. If somebody's, really good or there's some things that I think, hey, these are worth looking at, I absolutely would love to post those and talk about those and give a breakdown. But these are kids who are, at the end of the day, they're just trying to have fun and do their best or win championships. There are choreographers that put these routines together. There are coaches that manage and change and alter. I just don't want to make it a point to be critical of them and try to force my opinion out there. I just want to highlight what good quality is. There will be more, and we will really dive into some of them later on. But I really kind of just want to do teams that I feel comfortable talking about. I also will not do game day. I am not a fan of game day. I'm not trying to be disrespectful about it or anything. It's just not my style of cheerleading. I'm not the most cheery of cheerleaders. Never have been, never will be. I like going to the football games, but I like going because I get to watch and I got a really good seat to do that stuff. But like that actual stuff, it's a hard work. It's a lot of dedication. I feel comfortable that I could tell you what's good and what isn't good. But if you wanted me to add a numerical value to that, it's not something that I would feel comfortable with as a judge. And I never judge game day. Typically, what I do as a judge is I do stunts and I do deductions. There are no stunt judges in game day because they're not judging stunt difficulty. So I never have to work game day when I come in as a stunt. If I'm doing deductions, I don't have to know anything. I don't have to add. I just need to know, oh, they dropped that. Oh, this is a deduction. That's all I got to know. And I can just mark it on my sheet and go on. So I understand there's a lot of people that love it. It's really, really popular. I think there's more game day teams now than there are traditional. It's just not something that I'm into, not something that I would be an expert on, not something that I'm really worthy to talk about in a way that would be productive and helpful the way that I can about the traditional cheerleading stance. But I do appreciate a lot of people reaching out and wanting my opinion, and I've gotten a lot of feedback on that. So I think I will continue to do those, but like I said, it's not something that I'm going to make a habit out of. I'm going to do it here and there just when I see something that I really like and I want to point out to people. But today, we are going to talk about my college and all-star experience, everything leading up into my coaching. And I think that's what a lot of people want to hear is the coaching aspect and looking at a lot of the stuff, because I think a lot of people will see my videos and that's kind of been what's talking to them, like getting my philosophies out. I'm just trying to set the table at this point to let you guys know what I've learned and to know why I'm going to be certain ways, where I pick these things up. I want to reflect how my entire career has built into where I am today. And the only way to do that is to look at the good things and the bad things, the lessons learned. Everybody is a culmination or a build of all their experiences that everybody's had with them. I'm a byproduct of everyone that's helped me out for the last 20 years. And it would be an injustice to get my stuff out there without acknowledging my history, because history is one of the most important things in cheerleading. You absolutely need to know your history if you're going to be able to evolve and grow and avoid making certain mistakes. With very little ado, I will go ahead and we will start getting into this. Let's not waste any more time. Following high school nationals, I was supposed to go to Western. Originally, I wanted to go to Moorhead. I knew that I couldn't, especially after everything that I went through and the mistakes that I was having. I knew that I wasn't fundamentally ready and I wasn't ready from a skill point. So I decided to go to Western with my buddy. I did not go to the tryout. He ended up talking to Tom for me, got me a tryout scheduled, and I did my own individual thing. And basically they told me they'd take me, but I was going to need to work really, really hard. Not a big deal. I knew that. I did pretty well, but I didn't do as good as I thought that I could do. But I had very limited experience. I had really clean tumbling that I could throw. My basics were fairly solid. My pull-ups were still kind of new to me at that point, but ended up hurting my shoulder, had surgery. Western just kind of went out the door from there. I didn't go to school there. I didn't attend a single practice, never made it to nothing. It was literally 2 weeks after that tryout, I was tore up. So then I'm sitting at home and I get a call from a lady at Mid-Continent University, which is a very, very small school. It doesn't even exist anymore. And it's really close to where I live. I was planning to go there just to kind of get my education. And she asked me if I want to come in and join their program, which they were kind of a spirit squad. They weren't really an official cheerleading team. And there is a difference because of what you have to pay for insurance. It's expensive to have a cheerleading team. But if you have a spirit squad, it's a lot cheaper, and that's how some of these small colleges get around having to pay like a $50,000 yearly insurance fee to have cheerleading. The idea was if you could get someone like me from a national champion program, then that would encourage more people to want to come there. I think their goal was to try to build something real crazy from what she told me, and she was a super nice lady. It just wasn't really in the cards for them. But she offered me a ton of money, $10,000 a semester, and I was not going to hesitate to take that. I didn't care what we were doing. I was going to take it. Ended up being a really good thing because I actually enjoyed the school a whole lot. I am not a very big people person. I don't like large areas. I don't like lots of people being around me. And this was a very small school of about 300 people for a college. I would describe the campus more like a compound. There was 2 dorms, 1 building, and a classroom. I mean, it was very, very small, and I liked that. And because it was a Christian school, I had certain requirements that I had to follow, especially being an athlete there. Like I had to take Bible classes, at least one every single semester. That was a requirement. And I liked those. They were really good. And it was good to kind of look at it from an educational purpose instead of just a religious context all the time. I had to go to chapel on every single Wednesday. No big deal. It was at 8:30 in the morning. That was the only big deal that I had about it. But we never have really early Wednesday morning classes because of that. And the chapel wasn't bad. We would come in there. It was just a small little gathering of just everybody. All the athletes would be there. All the teachers and stuff like that, the faculty, they would all be there and give like a service. About it would be maybe 15 to 30 minute little church service. And I liked cheering the games. Our basketball team was pretty good. We were NAIA division. I think we made it to like the Final Four in the NAIA championship tournament rush. So I really did have a lot of time to just kind of relax and get used to what college was like, learning some study processes. I got to do some stuff as far as like I got to travel a little bit, got to cheer at really cool games, but I wasn't really doing what I wanted to do. I'm still very much driven to be competitive. I want to be out there on that floor again. I want to compete, and I understand that I'm not going to get there here. This is really good for me. I took a great money deal. It was good for my education. It was good for my mental health. It was good for my life. But it wasn't where I wanted to be in cheerleading. And I very much believe that I could have all of that together in one piece. So for a lot of this year, they gave me a lot of freedom at practices because I wasn't going to do dance and I wasn't going to do the floor cheers or any of that. They were really going to kind of try to keep me as just the guy that did stunts and the guy that tumbled. And I was like, I'm cool with that. So at practice, I would have a lot of free time and they would allow me to bring people in to stunt with and work on. And I would go and always ask Ariel. Ariel was the girl whose arm I'd broken when I was in high school. And when she came back, oddly enough, she was terrified to stunt with everybody except for me, which makes no sense whatsoever. It's not logical. But I was the guy that she felt the most comfortable with. And she was kind of going through a lot of struggles, still being in high school, struggling with her tumbling, struggling to kind of get back to where she was before the injury. So I was working with her, she was working with me, and during that time I just felt myself kind of getting more comfortable with stunning, making up the mistakes that I made last time. I'm really going to iron out my basics. I'm really going to be comfortable. I'm going to understand the way that they go right. I'm going to understand what happens when they go wrong. I'm going to understand how to pick it apart. And I want it to be something that I can feel. The stunt goes over here, there's a reason why. What was the reason? It's because the flick went this way. If I'm cutting off my toss, if the flick is happening to make me cut off my toss, if we're just not standing up together, I want to understand every single little aspect of everything that I do so that I'm comfortable with these and I'm not going to have the same problems that I had before. And I made a lot of progress. Did I get a ton better? No, but I think I was much more consistent at the end of that year. Because it's very hard because I don't have the resources that I had before. I don't have the coaching staff. I don't have a lot of athletes around me that are experienced. I'm not getting to go to all these college clinics because I'm in college now. I don't have the resources that I had before. So I'm having to really pay attention to myself and really kind of understand what my body's telling me. I have to think and use my brain. It was a very, very difficult time, but I'm very thankful for it because that is part of the process that I use all the time now. Really hammer things out, really pick them apart. And I don't mind spending a long time to really perfect something because I want to make sure that I'm doing it right. I don't want to rush through. I want to make sure that I can follow the proper progression so when I go to the next skill, I'm ready to focus on that and I'm ready to grow in that area. And I always have a couple things that I'm working on at the same time, but generally I want it all to follow in a very progressive order. I want everything to kind of be at the same level and grow, get my understanding of that stunt, and then be able to move on. November probably of that year, I was going to Bluegrass Regionals or something like that. I was just watching, and I was there watching Graves and Reedland, and I got to talking to my old coaches, and they told me that Eastern Kentucky was looking for guys, and I was like, well, that could be a really great opportunity for me because I know that I'm still not ready for some of these other places. So I get in touch with Eastern and speak with the coach, and he's pretty much telling me, we're going to try to win a championship. This is our goal. We're the small co-ed division, all this stuff. And it didn't take a lot. I was pretty solid with that. They had never gotten someone from, our end of the state. They kind of were really well to me. Like when I went to the clinic, which I had to go to the clinic to get my bid to go to the tryouts. I went to the clinic. They gave me this really great top girl. I had a really good time. I felt pretty comfortable that I was going to make this team, especially after being at the clinic and getting a good look of what everybody was and kind of getting a layout of what the team was going to be potentially, or at least the people that I knew were on the team that were going to be back this year. And I was like, I think I can fit in from a skills perspective. There's room for me to grow. Obviously the coaches are Morehead State alumni. So there's a lot of good things going on here. But I really only look at that. I don't spend a lot of other time understanding what the team's going to be. I don't ask a lot about practices or what the approach is. I just feel like this is a place for me, so I'm going to go with that. Fast forward a couple months, then we come to tryouts, and I show up to do the clinic. You have 2 or 3 days where you come in and you're trying to find your partner. This is only for the people who are going to try out. Figure out who you're going to be, work on your stuff. That way, when tryouts come on that weekend, you're ready to go. There were a few guys that were not particularly keen to have me there. It was just because of where I came from, just because I was from Graves County. And these were kids that were from teams that I'd competed on at one point, and not a lot of people were very nice to me. I don't think most people would care, but these 2 or 3 people did, and they made a lot of comments to me, and I kind of thought this is going to be a little rough. But that was fine. I just feel like they didn't know me yet. Once they knew me, once they saw me go to work, they would get over that. That was kind of what my impression of it was. But man, they were really tough on me, and a lot of negativity. Not wanting to work with me, not wanting to spot me on stuff, not wanting to spot my stunts, not wanting to pay attention to what I was doing. One of the older guys came up to me and he was like, you need to get ahead of this. You need to go out here and make it to where you're not someone that they're going to do that to. Because if you allow them to see any kind of weakness, they're going to exploit it. That's kind of the place that I was. And I was like, I didn't understand that. And it's not like that everywhere. Okay. This was the culture that I was coming into. A lot of getting in your face, a lot of yelling, a lot of screaming. When you walk through that door in college cheerleading, no matter where you've been, no matter what you've done, the only thing that matters is what you're going to do. And we're all on the same level. Doesn't matter if you're a senior or a freshman. We're all on the same grading scale now. Everyone wants to see you get better. That is true. Nobody wants to see you get better at their expense. Everybody that's there is typically the best from wherever they came from. So everybody is fighting for the spots. They want all their hard work to pay off. They want to be in the positions. They want to be able to do the most that they can to help their team achieve whatever their team is trying to do. It's not that they're being mean, but it's a competitive environment from start to finish. There is no comfortability. If you don't have that business mindset that we've talked about in the previous episodes, sometimes you have to make an emotional detachment. These may be your friends, but at the end of the day, what you're trying to do is talk about us as a whole and put us in the best position possible. Now, everybody wants to be the cog that fits in the machine, but all cogs are different sizes. It's not one piece will make a machine run. It's all about what all of us do together ultimately. But like I said, everybody wants to be a piece, and they want to be a big piece. They want to be someone that's involved in a lot of things. It was a little bit more hostile than that at times, and it was very much an excessive extension of that. But what I've stated is true. Everybody does want to see you get better because they understand that it's going to make all of us better. But people want those spots too. Guys want to be in those pyramids. Guys want to be in those stunts. Girls want to fly in this. They want to fly in that. They want to be in this panel or that. They want to be a showcase portion of the biggest portions of your score sheet, the biggest portions of your routine. Over the course of the week, I was able to eventually win most of those guys over, except for one or two of the older ones. But it was just from grinding in the gym, making myself look good. I understood for tryouts, I want to go ahead and put out a performance that I can be proud of. Obviously, I need to look good, and I need to look clean, and I need to do what I'm comfortable with. I know exactly what I'm trying to hit on the score sheet. There's a fight song. There's a cheer that I really don't have to be involved in, except for I'm throwing a stunt in it. I have to do a stretch. I can get into it any way that I want to. I need to do a full or double down dismount, and I'm ripping for the double. That's the goal. And then you have your elite sequence. So I know exactly what I'm going to work on. I know what I need to focus on. I'm doing that, and I'm being smart about it. Like, I'm not overextending myself. I'm doing skills that I know that I can hit the hardest that I can hit at the best execution level. And I have a pretty good tryout. My back was bugging really, really bad. I remember that. I had like a pinched nerve or something. And I was like, I'm just going to suck it up and get through it. It's I just got to get through my tryout. Ultimately, your tryout is like 6, 7, 8 hours, but like you're really only doing stuff for like 5 minutes. It's just, I'm just going to tough it up. I did no warm up. My back was hurting so bad. I was like, I'm just going to go out here on the floor and do it. I had one girl ask me to do her tryout stunts because nobody else was going to do them with her. And I was like, yeah, I'll do it. And because my back was hurting so bad, I was like, she's going to be my tryout too. Because my back physically can't handle it. I was like, I'm gonna push through and do what I need to, but I'm not going to do any more than that. I even tried out at obviously be below my skill level, but I made everything that she did look good. We both ended up making the team. We were very excited. We go out that night, all of us. And what do we do when you make the team? We're going to have a party, and we're going to have a great time. We had practice at 6 o'clock the next morning. I am getting ready to watch some people learn a very valuable lesson. You're an adult now. You are responsible for you. If you want to go out and party the night before, you're more than welcome to do that, and nobody will tell you no. But if you can't handle yourself the next morning at practice, that's on you. And there will be no mercy given to you. You're responsible for your own grades. You're responsible for being on time. You're responsible for making sure that you're at the places that you need to be. Everything is on your shoulders. Nobody's going to hunt down your teachers for your grades. Nobody's going to remind you that you need to be here 5 minutes before. It's you get the information and you be responsible for it, and you carry yourself in the way that you need to. And you're in charge of your own life. Nobody's going to tell you how to do that. And there were some people that were having a rough time that morning because of what they did the night before. I didn't always know what kind of coach I wanted to be, but I found out very quickly what kind of coach I didn't want to be. So the next morning, we're having this first practice, 6 o'clock in the morning. And the first thing that they're going to do is they're going to take us out to the parking lot to throw standing tucks. And you have to throw X amount of tucks in a row, and everybody has to hit them in order for us to be done. It's a play system. It's to find out who's the real tough and who's the phony tough. And I completely understand that, and I completely get that. But we have 9 girls on the team that either did not throw or did not hit a standing tuck at tryouts. And we all are getting ready to do this, and we all have to hit it to move on. Over the course of like the next hour and a half, 2 hours, these 9 girls do nothing but turn their hands and knees into hamburger meat. And for those of us that are hitting our standing tucks, after you've done 40 or 50 and you feel the pounding on the concrete and the shock in your ankles and your knees, your hips, your joints, your back, People are starting to get mad, and they're starting to get frustrated. And who are they taking it out on? The people that aren't hitting their standing tugs. And now you've got the pressure of everybody yelling down on you in a situation where you already don't feel comfortable. You know you can't hit it. And this is what made me furious. Is like, I'm sitting here and I'm watching all this. And I'm like, this is idiotic. This is stupid. It would be one thing if everybody had these skills and you were just testing to see who hit them at tryouts and who didn't. But people are getting hurt. And you knew that they couldn't do these skills. You knew that they couldn't do it. And you knew exactly what we were going to do today. And you still put them on the team, and you still asked them to hurt themselves. They weren't going to magically get... It's not like they were scared to do it. It's not like they didn't have a mental block. They couldn't do it. They did not have the technical skill to pull this off. And now we're out here, and it's dangerous. And it's not making them any better. People, like I said, people got hurt. And we're fighting at each other. We're at each other's throats. And from that very first moment, any team chemistry that we had was down the drain. We were done there, day one. I don't mind that type of coaching. I don't mind that type of leadership. I don't mind that type of program at all. In fact, I love it. I like being tested. I like being pushed. And I like being held responsible. I don't like doing stupid things. And when you put people in dangerous situations, you're doing stupid things. It would be one thing if we were, they tried to treat us like we were Moorhead, and that would have been fine if we were at that talent level, if we were at that skill level and that capability. We weren't. We were a building program. We have 8 guys on the team. 5 of us have never cheered in college before. We have 5 co-ed top girls. Only one of them has ever flown before. The other 4 were all girl that we were converting over. We were not at the level to be doing the kind of things that we were supposed to do. And I wish I had understood that when I first came in. Like I said, I don't mind the toughness at all. I enjoy that, and I like it. And I enjoy being very tough on all the people that I coach today. Nothing that I have, nothing that I've won, nothing that I've achieved is worth more than the people that I coach safety and well-being. There is not one jacket or one ring that is worth somebody getting crippled or mauled or abused for. There's just not. I'm proud of what I've accomplished, but I don't want to do it that way. I don't want to see other people get hurt. And I understand injuries are part of it. You can't avoid certain things. But this was completely avoidable. This was 100%. You controlled the circumstances. You knew the probability. And you still chose to make the decision. And I didn't like that. We'll go home, come back for Hell Week. Just 7 wonderful days of cheerleading and learning everything with your team as we're getting ready to go into UCA camp. So we're learning the pyramids. We're learning the baskets. All that stuff is not really that bad. The shoulder stands suck while your skin's getting used to it and your team's getting their timing together. That's really miserable, but that's just part of it. Like, you're going to have to get used to that. If you're short, just get ready. You're going to get ridden. Your neck is going to be scarred. Your traps are going to be just destroyed. That's just the way that this is going to be. It's part of it. At least now you guys can throw to hands and bump on. Back then we could throw it straight to the shoulder, and that made it significantly worse. Baskets I thought was super easy. If you're a guy, you just throw. It's super easy. You just throw and catch. It's not hard. You throw her, keep your eyes on the hips at all times, because if you can tell where her hips are and what that rotation is going to be like, you'll always know where she is. You'll always be able to catch her. And it was a lot of basic stunts like before. Toss extension, toss lib, toss stretch, toss QP, full up, and a low to high. And we're just hammering that out with everybody. And I'm doing well. I mean, we're struggling with having some new top girls, so some of this stuff is kind of, I'm trying to teach when I feel like I should be learning some. And I need the kind of environment that's going to help me grow. And we're not getting a lot of coaching from coach. A lot of it is just us talking it out. We don't have time. You have to work it out right there in the moment. I guess, you're a college athlete, expected to be at a higher level of sport IQ and understanding how to make quick changes and quick adaptations. Once again, that's fine. Completely understand that. But you have to remember, we're not that team and we're not that pro. Once we come back to school, it's pretty much just how it always is. We're practicing all the time. You're busy as anything that you can ever imagine. And cheerleaders are going to get asked to go on all kinds of side quests, all kinds of adventures, to go here, to go there. We need somebody to cheer the chess tournament. Okay, I guess we'll do it. We did all kinds of stuff. Like, you're super, super busy. You're trying to juggle classes. And it's important that you pick an environment that's important to you. It is your due diligence to check out all these things before you go to a team. What the coach is like, what the style is going to be like, what the campus, the school, the atmosphere, all that's going to be like. Because you need to put yourself in a place where you can be successful. And you need to put yourself in a place where you can better your future. Cheerleading is a great thing, and I love it. But most of us are not going to make a full-time career out of it. It's just not going to happen. We don't have a pro league or anything like that, at least not now. Maybe one day, who knows? But you have to make those decisions about what's best place for you. Because if you're not in a place where you're happy or a place where you're working towards the things that you're wanting to work towards, you're not going to be that committed and that into a lot of things. I'm telling you, if you don't love it, you might as well leave it. Because if you can't handle being involved and being busy and it's a commitment. You have to be invested in this at all times, especially on the college level, because pretty much from the time, it's almost a whole year gig. You get a couple weeks off during the summer, but for the most part, you're doing this all year long. At the time, you had to film videos and send them in to get your bid for nationals. So these wouldn't be like routines or anything. It would just be a collection of skills based on the rule sheet. We would do like a cheer. You do, the video score that's ahead of those. We would film that, and that would be attached to our taping videos for your crowd score, like your community involvement and all that. And then we would throw our tumbling and certain stunts and skills, stuff that we would potentially have in our routine. This sucked. And this is where I really felt like everything was going downhill. Just trying to get toss extensions on tape. It's not hard. 4 guys. We got some all-girl mimicking in the back. You just hit it, pop off. They should be clean. High V's on the right count. And it took us 39 takes to do this. This is the first thing that we're filming, and it's the easiest thing. But nobody's coaching anybody. There's not a lot of feedback going on. These girls have not developed super, super well. We weren't getting a lot of coaching. Like I said, it was very much on us to figure everything out. And when you're still trying to learn the most basics of things, when you're trying to do these more elite skills that we're going to try to do later, like if we're struggling to do this, the most basic thing that we can do, how much more intense is this going to be later? And for the most part, I really feel like I didn't develop a lot of new skills. I was getting bigger. I was getting stronger. I was stunning better. I was stunning at a high rate, but people weren't really getting better. We were just making stuff happen. And when we got to the hard stuff, when we got to doing pyramids, when we got to do all this, it's a fight. It's a fight to get these tapes in, and we're struggling with each other. Everybody's at everybody's neck. It's constant bickering and fighting. That's part of the stress of it, but this is to a point where everything is deteriorating. At no point does anybody ever step in and try to stop this. And if anybody did, you'd have been ridiculed and run down. It was not a good environment to be in. We just weren't ready to do a lot of the things that we were trying to do, and nobody cared. It was just an F this and an F that mentality, like we're going to do it, which is fine, but not everybody has that. And if we're not a cohesive unit, and clearly we're not right now, then we're not going to progress any further than struggling to even be basic. I injured my neck on a tumbling pass, and I'm out for a little while. And we're practicing in Begley, and we're working on like this Swedish fall pyramid. She like spins up to it's something wild. I can't remember all of that, but she's in the Swedish fall in the A-frame, and the one that has her legs ends up letting go, or she loses her, slips. I don't remember. I'm sitting there watching. And instead of any of the 20 people that were spotting, and that is not an exaggeration, there was 20 people spotting this. She swings down, kind of like a pendulum. It swings to the left and back to the right. Well, when her feet go, she slings to the left and just keeps going. Her feet never touch the floor. The mid layer was really tall, and she swung all the way through, off to the left side. And, of course, the mid layer can't hold on to her, loses her grips, and just sends her flying. Lands flat on her back on the mat hard. It was very scary. And they bring in the ambulance. And she gets stretchered out of that practice. And the next day, I get cleared to return. We're going to get punished for her hitting the ground. Even though I didn't do anything, and I couldn't have prevented it anyway, I'm going to get punished too, which is fine. And we got abused. We were running steps 3 hours running football suicides to the 5 and back, to the 10 and back, to the 15 and back. I mean, the full field. People were vomiting, people were throwing up, people were beat down. I mean, it was a very intense message that and it needed to be sent. You need to protect your top girls. That's absolutely inexcusable. Something like that, especially with that many people that are there. I completely understood that. I hated that I had to go through it, but we're a team, that's part of it. But my coach told me something very important that changed a lot of how I viewed cheerleading for a long time. He said, I love some of you. I like most of you, but I care about all of you. And that felt very conflicting in some ways. Obviously, we don't all have that connection, and you have to be able to work with people that you don't like. This is not about a popularity contest or a friendship court or nothing like that. At the end of the day, we're trying to achieve something. Whatever people can help you achieve that, if you can have a business mindset and be able to do what you have to do to complete the deal, that is essential. But I didn't really get that we care about you part very well. I understand that this is a different environment and that this is a different world. But I still feel like I need to be coached. I still feel like there's a lot of people out here that are just here to be on a cheerleading team. I don't feel like there's a lot of people that love it or that are dedicated to it or that take it seriously. I don't feel like there's a lot of people that are doing what they're supposed to do to achieve this thing. And we can talk all day about winning this and winning that. But there's not one person on this team that's doing what they need to do to put us in a position to win. And at that point, I just decide, I think I'm about done with this. I just want to come home. I'm going to finish my commitment. I'm going to finish what I started. And then when this is over with, I'm going home. I'm done. And pretty much what you think would happen for the rest of the year is what happened. It was terrible. Didn't enjoy it. Wasn't pleased with it. Wasn't happy with the outcome of it. And I was getting ready to leave. This is in January. I got a call from Sean. Sean had quit the team. Called me and he asked me, he goes, do you want to come to Matrix All-Stars and cheer with us? And I was like, I've never done All-Star. And it ended up being the best decision that I've made up until that point. I got to work with a gentleman there named Daniel Quick who had done a lot of partner stunts in the 90s, like 5 or 6. So I've got someone that's really working with me and really developing me. There's not a lot of guys on the team. So I'm getting a lot of focus. I'm getting a lot of attention. And it's just an invaluable resource to have someone of that level, of that caliber, that understood stunning and teaching me that stunning should feel like an extension of your body. Everything should feel as smooth and as easy as picking your legs up or as walking, as natural. You know, that balance that you have when everything feels good. Like when you launch a full around and even when it leaves your hands, but the weight you almost feel the flow and the connection. Like you know exactly where the stunt's going to go. You feel the placement of your hands is almost the way you would describe it in a textbook. It's just automatic. It's effortless. It feels in flow. There's a good energy to it and everything. You know, every single stunt is an extension of yourself. Understanding yourself and your top girl, where to place the weight, the amount to do this, how to lift your weight, how to use your legs, and make everything feel like it flow and like it's so effortless. And man, this was a great time for me. We were just an old all-star team. I was the youngest person on the team. I was 19. I just turned 20. A lot of the people were older cheerleaders that had retired or they were doing different stuff in life now. I think there was like a middle school teacher and people that, you know, these were adults that were just, they had cheered once upon a time. They had left to live life and they felt like they wanted to do this. And it was really great to sit around all those people that had a lot of experience. A lot of these people just wanted to really be helpful because they were just trying to do this because they enjoyed it, because it was fun. You know, we really weren't focused on like winning, just having good performances, having good routines. I was learning how to do a lot of my flipping technique and all that stuff. All of my spinning skills are developing. I have a really great time. And it's spring floor. God bless it's spring floor. So yes, I am super thankful for that and what I got from that. Now, All-Star itself was a different animal for me. I got a lot of blessing to just go out there and do. I got to do co-ed stunts. Nobody touched them. I wasn't assisted. It was awesome. We only had like 3 or 4 guys. So like I said, if you're going to try to put up any volume of stunt, you're kind of going to have to be able to do it on your own. So I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that I was having performances. I enjoyed that we were going to competitions and we were hitting and I was hitting and I felt good. And I was throwing stuff that's way harder than stuff I'd thrown before. I'm enjoying this. It's a lot of fun. And I really felt like I developed a lot from it. And it's just because I was in a really good environment. I was with people. There was, like I said, there was not a lot of stress to win. Not that I don't enjoy stressed out about winning, but it was very much a chance to just kind of focus on building myself as an individual and as an athlete. And like I said, really understanding that technique, getting comfortable with getting out on the floor again. It was really, really what I wish I'd gotten to do the year prior before I came into college. I think having that ground, I think it would have put me in a position to be able to go to a place that I would want to go. And like I said, I wish I'd done my due diligence and checked in a little bit more and studied where I was going to be in the environment. Because I really didn't like Richmond that much either. I just wasn't really clicking with people well. And I mean, it's college. We were partying. So, like, a lot of that stuff was going on all the time. I was taking pills again. Everything got really hectic. But then going to All-Star was kind of like getting to take a step out. You know, getting away from the college environment. And I just got to really focus on that. During this time, right before I came home, I was coming back periodically to Mayfield and going to some practices at Graves County and kind of helping them stunt with some of the new girls and get ready for open gyms for their tryouts. And that's where I met Abby. And Abby ends up being a very big part of my life and my journey going forward. But the first time that I met her, she'd come into the tryouts probably like 4 or 5 weeks late from when we started doing the open gyms, but someone just hadn't told her about it, and I don't know how she didn't know. But she comes in bouncing like a penguin, like waddling side to side, big bushy-haired, big blue-eyed little girl. And I was like, come on down here, you're with me. And we connected really quick, and I really enjoyed working with her. And I spent a lot of time developing her in the beginning. I thought that she was someone that, like, you could tell had the opportunity to be really, really good at this. And I really enjoyed working with her. And she enjoyed working with me. And not everybody did at the time. A lot of people still didn't. They hadn't seen what I went through in college, so I still have that stigma of what happened to me before, of being someone that couldn't handle the pressure or someone that nobody really wants to work with. But this was someone who did, and not a lot of other people were willing to work with the new girls at the time, but I was. At this point, I feel pretty comfortable after just having to do it in college. To get someone that, you know, I can work with and I don't have to counter anybody's stuff that they've taught them. There's no bad habits. It's a really great time to make a good impression on someone, to teach someone these things correctly. Helping her get better and watching her grow was really helping to build my confidence. And I think it changed the way a lot of people viewed me, because I took someone who really didn't really know anything, didn't really have any kind of flying experience, especially at a co-ed level, and she looked really good. Now, they just kind of kept her in like some basic stuff in the beginning, but she was starting to evolve and really come along. And then I went and took my time off. And like I said, I just kind of sat around and rested, figured out what I was going to do, worked several different jobs, went to a lot of different places. And then in December of 2011, she called me. I guess she was kind of struggling and asked me if I would come and stunt with her. And I came and stunt with her. And that day I stunted better than I think I've ever stunted in my entire life. And which was really odd because I've taken off about 6 months. And I just feel so much better. And I was like, I kind of enjoyed this. I kind of might want to do this some more. So I started coming more and more to the open gyms and being involved in some stuff through 2012. In January, I go back to Mid-Continent to MCU. There's a new girl coaching there that I actually cheered with the first time. She gives me a lot of money, but she's got some people there, and it's kind of a chance for me to just go in and help do what originally they wanted me to do, help develop some people, their introduction to this style of cheerleading so that they can start making the steps to being in a place where they can properly recruit and then potentially compete. And it was pretty much the same stuff as before. I had a really good time with them. Winning wasn't really on my mind. I just wanted to kind of get back on track, get myself cleaned up, be in an environment where I could be successful. And that's exactly what happened. I really enjoyed all my time there. You know, I haven't really had a lot of fun just going to practices and just cheering the games. It's very much been so fixated on winning. And that's going to be something that I struggle with a lot. Winning is like a drug. You get that fix, and then the next day it goes away. That's how winning was to me. I started to chase that moment, to chase that high, to chase that win, and I would get it. And then the next day, I'm focused on how can I get that feeling back again? How can I get back to that moment? And it gets to the point where you spend so much time chasing the next thing, the insecurity of not having the championships all the time, the insecurity of not having that high all the time, and you get desperate. And all of a sudden you end up in a state where you can't even really enjoy winning because you're so focused on the next time that you're going to get to. In March of 2012, I'm coming back to work on the next round of tryouts, the next group of people, and I get asked by John if I was willing to be an assistant coach the next year. And I'm absolutely floored to have this opportunity. I didn't know that he was looking for anybody. I don't necessarily think that I was the person that they wanted. I was the person who was available. I understood the program. I understood what they were trying to do. I could teach a lot of the skills that we were kind of working on. I had done really good work with Abby, and like I said, I don't think if I hadn't have done all that work and she hadn't worked out as well as she did, if I would have even been considered or given this opportunity. But, to be flat out asked, I was absolutely floored by that. And I was like, absolutely, I want to do this. To come back here and get a chance to be an assistant coach on a program that I was a part of, get another chance to do a lot of really incredible things, absolutely. I would love to do that. It's a way for me to get back into cheerleading. It's a way for me to shift gears. Help be a part of something that's special, like a winning tradition. That's what I wanted to get back on. Because it was really hard for me to not win. Because that's really all I had known, was trying to win and doing things in a way to win. So to finally be back here, I was floored and I was ecstatic about that opportunity. But before I get to go, I end up one last little journey. That summer, I had applied to go work for PCC Premier Cheer Camps. It was a little company in Murray, do cheerleading camps. And I started in, I think the last week of May, we did our training camp. It was just 7 days of cheers. We learned 50 cheers. We had to film the informational DVD that we were going to send. Because obviously when we go, we're not going to teach all these teams 50 cheers and 5 dances and 5 floor cheers. So we're going to put it all together on a DVD. And when you pay for the camp, you get the DVD. We teach you certain material that we feel like is appropriate for whatever your team's skill level is. I've never done dance or anything like that before. But I was like, if I'm going to do it and you're going to film me and put this on a video, well, then I kind of want to be good at it. Like, I don't want to embarrass myself. So I decided, well, I'm going to commit to doing something that I don't really want to do because I'm not going to let myself be embarrassed. And boy, for those 7 days, I worked like an animal. Like, I have been more tired from doing dances than I have full outs. Like, I was exhausted. We were all beat down, but we were having a good time. I was the second oldest person out of the group. There was one chick that was older than me. So a lot of us were pretty, they had just graduated high school up until like 21 years of age. And we were getting ready to go out and do a whole bunch of camps. This was a good experience for me. Most of the teams that we went to were never going to compete. These were not competitive teams. I did 3 choreography camps the whole time, 2 teams a week. So Sundays we would be off. It would usually be a travel day. Work Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, travel to the next city that night, and they do Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then be back on the road Sunday. And I went all over the place. I started off in Kansas. I was in Atlanta, Savannah, Georgia, South Carolina, North Carolina, New York City. I went to Harlem. I was in Houston, Texas, everywhere, all over the sun. I did huge schools and I did towns of people of like 500 total population. So like I got to go all over the world. I got to get some coaching experience because these are things that I'm not very familiar with. Jumps, motions, sidelines. But I'm getting to be around people that do know these things. And while they're teaching the kids, I'm trying to learn this stuff too. Because if I'm going to be a coach, I'm going to have to learn a little bit more than what I know. Like I know what my bread and butter is. It's stunning. I can spot tumbling, but like there are better tumbling instructors out there than me. And there's better stunt instructors, but for what we're trying to do, like I understand it and I feel comfortable teaching it. Pyramids and stuff like that. Motions, being tight, sign work. That's stuff that I'm not very familiar with, stuff I've never really had to do as a guy. So getting this opportunity to go out these camps and listen to other people talk about that and give instruction, even though I'm not doing it, I'm learning and I'm seeing what works and seeing how they connect with people. And I really love the people that I got to work with. I had a super awesome time with every person that was in my group. Most of the time it was one guy, one girl, and I never had to teach sign lines or dances or jumps or anything. So for the most part, I was a glorified chauffeur. I drove everywhere. Every single time we went somewhere, I drove because the girls were doing the bulk of the work at the camps. I thought a lot of that stuff was really going to be helpful for me to understand, especially for the direction that we were getting ready to go in with this team, this Graves County team. Getting that little lesson and kind of getting a look to see at just other teams, and like so many other teams are just appreciative of the fact that they got to do this. And I didn't understand this at the time because I'm very competitive and I want to win. And like I said, I'm not really a big cheer guy, not the cheery part. But these teams were genuinely happy and looked forward to this camp and to get to learn how to do some cheers and to get some instruction. And teams really enjoyed that. And it kind of put a different perspective in my mind that, looking back at it now, I see that people really are passionate about this. And while the tumbling and all that stuff really fits a certain demographic, the stunning fits a certain demographic, the cheers and the games, game day, all star, UCA, NCA, doesn't matter what it is, there's a little bit of something for everybody in this. And no matter who you are or where you are, you can find an environment that will fit for you. You can find a place that works for you. You can find a way to do the things that you love, to do it in a way that you love it, to be able to grow, and to be part of this incredible community. And that's where we're going to stop for today. Next time, we're going to get into my coaching career and look over at least my first year. We might be able to do 2 years. We'll see. Getting into some of that stuff and learning some of the things I did right and a lot of the things that I did wrong. And we're really going to kind of look at how all these things prior to that have started to affect how I'm going to be as a coach and where I develop my mentality. But I'm very excited to start to get into that chapter. I think that's what a lot of people came here looking for. I hope that everyone enjoyed today's episode. If you did, just let me know. If you ever feel the need to reach out, please feel free to reach out to me. I'm always happy to answer questions. I hope that you guys enjoyed it once again. I hope that you guys are looking forward to the next one. And for now, I will see you guys next time. This is Memoirs of the Father.